All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our GDI Hackathon. I have some amazing leaders with me today, and I can't wait to introduce them all. First, I have Rebecca Shaddix with us. She is our board chair here at GDI. So welcome, Rebecca. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Katie. I'm so happy to see you here and everyone here participating in the hackathon.
Yeah, we had such an amazing day yesterday. We had over 400 folks joining us at some point during the day, and it was just, we've have 8 teams up and running, and I think we have more coming together. And then I have Julia Taylor and Jess Kurtz with us. They're going to do our keynote, so they're going to hang out for a minute, and then we'll turn it over to them. Great. Well, I'm going to do a very quick just overview and a couple of housekeeping to get folks ready for the day. Let me see if I can't share my screen real quick. All right. Well, welcome to day 2. So again, if you hadn't joined us yesterday, just real quick who we are and what we're doing. And that is great. We're happy you're here today. I know a couple of folks couldn't make it yesterday. Again, GDI, we're a national nonprofit. Our mission is to provide welcoming, supportive environment for women and non-binary adults to learn software development. We offer over 100 virtual classes every year taught by live instructors from JavaScript to career coaching and courses. We are low cost or free options, and we offer memberships and all kinds of ways to make sure that it's affordable for everyone to learn. And we offer quite a bit of mentorship. And the best part, which is what we got to celebrate yesterday, is our community. The people who are here, the stories we're sharing, everyone in Slack, the speakers we had, just such an amazing day of really sharing everyone's journey into the space. Again, this event is very different than other hackathons. We're here to meet new people and to build some community. That is one of our biggest takeaways, that everyone's making a new friend and someone to be a code-along partner. We've had folks find jobs here. We've had folks find lifelong friends. We've had folks find all kinds of business partners and whatnot at this event. And we're hoping that everyone gets to do that. We're also challenging everyone just to level up wherever you're at. If it's your first day coding, your second day coding, you've been coding for 5 years, use this event to push yourself to that next level. Build that project or get involved in something that you can use for your next interview and talk about how you made something happen. And also, this is a safe and welcoming environment. Our code of conduct is very important to us. We ask everyone to treat each other with respect. We ask that for all of our events. While we're together in this virtual environment, we are sharing space. And with that, we want to make sure everyone feels respected, heard, and is welcome here. If for any reason you don't ever feel that way, please let me know, or let someone like Rebecca on our board know, and Jess is also on our board. We will continue to strive to do that better. And then make sure, as you're here in all of our events, ask a ton of questions. Our speakers want your questions. Our workshop leaders want your questions. I want your questions. Don't ever feel like you're lost and not sure what to do. And you all have been very good on Slack asking those questions, so keep that going. And real quick, we just really wanted to honor and say thank you to our sponsors. So Rebecca, I'll let you do this.
Absolutely. This event couldn't happen without our sponsors, and sponsors who are committed to having a more diverse and representative tech field. We believe in the power of technology to change the lives of everyone the product touches, but also the people involved in building them. And so we really appreciate the partners and sponsors who have made this happen and facilitate these opportunities for all of us.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Rebecca. And these partners have brought not only just some support to the event, but also some really cool prizes, since we didn't really talk about what you're playing for here. Many of you heard Emmy CEO Aaron Peterson talk yesterday. They've donated 12 cases of their product. They've also have quite a few discount codes that will be part of our prize packs. Recycle Health is a really cool company, does upcycling of and actually kind of repurposes a lot of brand new wearables. So Fitbits, Apple Watches, Google Pixel Watches, we've got a whole box of those to use as prizes, and a whole bunch more stuff. If anyone got to see Shalom Matthew yesterday talk about her book, we've donated some of those, will be part of the prize packs, and so much more. So we're really excited about that, and thank you. And thank you for Rebecca for honoring these folks. If you haven't connected with us with Slack yet, it's pinned to the invite to our Slack channels on the top of the chat, pinned. Please find your way to us. Hashtag 2023 Hackathon is where it's all at. There's tons of chatter in there. Come meet people, come find groups, all that good stuff. And then hashtag Hack23Help is where you can find mentors, help desk, ask questions, people to help coach you. That has been very active. And then each of the groups, as they're forming, have their own channels. And then we launched this morning just a new group called Dream Team. These are folks who are still trying to find a team. If you come over there, if you're still looking and you want some help, we'll help you dream a little bit, maybe start a new team or work together. But we'll be in there around 1 o'clock today and start making that happen. So feel free, if you're still looking for a team and not sure where to go, come to the Dream Team. We'll find a place for you. Okay, today we have a great agenda for you. We're going to hand this over to Jess and Julia for an amazing keynote. And then we've got a couple of workshops. At one, we've got what is returnship, which if you don't know what this is, it's a really cool way to find your way back into the workplace, or if you've been out for a while. And then we've got a really great conversation about, again, UX tools and tips, quick workshop getting you ready for your hackathon projects. We've got an amazing workshop at 2 o'clock about organizing your applications data. And then we have Nicole Calhoun, one of our speakers who speaks a lot at GDI about becoming a person of influence. And then we've got we're back here on the stage at 3 for talking about with a current student at 1010, a boot camp. A lot of folks here ask about what that experience is like. We'd love to provide that to you. So we'll have a great Q&A with her at 3 o'clock. All right, so I am going to stop sharing and I am going to step away and let Jess and Julia take over. Please use the stage chat if you have questions for her, and then we'll come back and see if we can answer any of the logistical questions. I'll be here in the chat as well as Slack throughout this presentation, so come find us. All right, Jess, it's all you.
Everyone, so excited to see you. And again, just echoing Katie and Rebecca's sentiments about how exciting it is to see this community come together and create and dream some really amazing work. So really excited to kick off day 2 with Julia Taylor. And I am, like Katie mentioned, a board member here at Girl Develop It. So excited to dig into Julia's journey and career and a little bit more about what motivates you and what keeps you ticking and excited about the field of coding and technology. And I'm going to just ask that you do a quick intro to kick us off. Who are you? Who is this awesome person on the other side of the screen?
Oh, well, thank you so much. First of all, it's an absolute honor to be here. And I'm so excited to get to share my journey, and hopefully it resonates with someone and it's oh, cool, I've been there, or I want to do that, just as a bit of a kind of confidence boost and momentum. And yeah, so I'm so excited to be here. So I'm the founder, the CEO and founder of GeekPack. And I love when you say, like, you're all about building community. Like, that is at the foundation of everything that we do. It's in our name. We are a pack of geeks. We look after each other. We're supportive. We're encouraging. There's no such thing as a stupid question in our community. And that's because of a personal experience that I had. And I've been doing this since about 2016. So I'm just really excited to be here. Thanks very much.
Amazing. Katie mentioned, if you are watching and joining us live, please drop some questions into the stage chat. We'd love to ask Julia something specific that's on your mind or something that resonates with you, and make sure to include your voice in our conversation. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in a little bit. And one of the things I love about your story, Julia, is that you're a self-taught coder. It's something that you developed and discovered on your own. So I'm curious if you can share with our group today, what piqued your interest in coding and what did you use to learn?
Sure. So my journey to coding kind of started back in 2008. So before I became an entrepreneur and started my own business, I used to work for the Department of Defense. I was in the intelligence community. So in 2008, I was actually deployed to Afghanistan. And while I was there, I met my now husband. He's British. He was in the military, and long distance, I moved to the UK and became a military wife, which I'm immensely proud of. However, my career projections really took a nosedive. I don't know if there's any other military families here, but we moved around a lot. And in one of my kind of random 9-to-5 jobs that I was in, it was kind of an administrative job, I was, sat there in my cubicle working away, and my boss walks in and he says, "I need our website to do X." And he looks at me and he says, "Figure it out." And I remember thinking, oh my God, I have absolutely no idea. I know what he's trying to achieve, but I don't know how to do it. And why in the world he asked me to do it, to this day, I don't know. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll Google it. That's all I really know how to do is I'll Google it. I'll see if I can figure it out. Problem solver. So again, any other problem solvers in the room, this is the perfect career for you to be in. And I went to Google and I typed in what he asked for, and a line of code came up. Now, I do not have a tech background. I don't have a tech degree. I have a degree in Russian. I don't have nothing in tech. And I saw this line of code and I thought, well, I kind of can see what it means and I kind of understand. And I Googled, what am I supposed to do with this? And I took it and I put it into the back end of this website and I hit save. I refreshed the site and it worked. And it was this aha moment for me of, oh my word, like I thought coding was really hard because of Hollywood, but yet I've just Googled something. I put it and it worked, and it got my wheels turning of, well, if I just learned that on Google in 5 minutes, what else can I learn? And this kind of opened up this world to me of, I like solving problems and I know how to Google. So what else can I do? And it started down a path, and me doing this Google thing was in 2014. So from then until where I am now, I started down this path of learning as much as I could. And my tech education, my coding education is Google and YouTube. And I did it for free because I was paranoid about spending any money on anything because, I didn't want to waste any money. And was it real? And I'm an imposter and no one's going to believe that I can do these things. And it took me about 3 years of kind of learning on Google and YouTube before I ever built up the confidence to start my own business and offer it as a service. And then that kind of takes me to where I am now. So.
Thank you for being so honest and transparent about your feelings during that process and sort of how the emotional layer comes into play when you're learning something new and sort of taking that risk. And sort of like you mentioned, that does sort of lead into another risk and a big adventure that you took, which is building your own company. And so I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about that founder's moment. What was sort of the headspace behind, I think this is a good idea?
Well, I still wonder if it is only because I refer to myself as an accidental entrepreneur, because it's not, you hear podcasts and you hear other, big fancy entrepreneurs and they, it runs in my blood and I had a lemonade stand when I was a kid. That is not me at all. I'm an introvert. I'm nervous right now, but I'm very passionate and excited about what I get to do. And that's why I do things like this. I mean, do I love being on camera? No, but does it mean I get to reach more people and tell my story and hopefully help them build some confidence? Yes. So I'm definitely still in that, do I know what I'm doing? I mean, imposter syndrome, I don't think it ever really goes away. It just kind of happens at different levels along the journey, and you figure out how to kind of work with it and use it to your advantage. So let's see, when I started GeekPack, it was, we officially founded GeekPack in 2018, and the name of it, everything that we do, the foundation of what we do, it's all built around community and a safe place for people to ask questions without the fear of being made fun of, because I did not have that experience. I was made fun of multiple times. The AC in this room is really loud, so I apologize if that is coming through. So,
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
love doing lives. And so I was made fun of a number of times. Stack Overflow or whatever kind of massive Facebook group or whatever community I went to, and I would ask questions, I would hear, if you don't know the answer to that, you shouldn't be doing X, you shouldn't be doing Y. And it really set me back. And I wanted to quit a lot of times. And we've found that there's something about learning, particularly with women, learning something that seems scary, like tech skills or learning how to code. If you can do it in a community with other people who look like you or your age or similar background, similar finances, like if you can see yourself in someone else doing it and not be afraid that you're going to be made fun of, then you're a lot more likely to succeed. And that's what I love so much about what y'all are doing and how aligned we are with our missions and our vision. And that's why GeekPack exists, is setting up that community for anyone, regardless of where they come from, what they look like, what their experience is. There is a place for them, and there is no such thing as a silly question. Mean people are not allowed in my community. I make that very clear from the very beginning. And some people, don't like that. Fine, cool. There's other places for you. But that's that, and that's why GeekPack, why I founded it, because I wanted other people not to feel the way that I had when I was learning tech and learning to code.
Amazing. And Jacqueline Lopez in the chat actually just said, yes, that's so true about finding that space already what you're sharing is resonating, which is amazing. And so again, just an invite to anyone who's with us live. If you have specific questions, I could talk to Julia all day. So please let me keep going. But absolutely, in the meantime, drop some questions that maybe are specific to Julia and her journey and things that resonate with your career and your discovery process. But you talked about fear, Julia, and I think that that's something that, like you said, the imposter syndrome and the fear behind the space of learning something new, challenging something new, and pushing yourself into something new is both rewarding and scary. And so it's a little bit of both. And I'm wondering if there's anything that you're pushing yourself to do right now, something that still scares you a little bit, or something that is driving you to still remain creative and really sort of pushing your own energy forward, whether in your organization or you as your own learner, whatever that might be.
Oh, I feel like I do scary things a lot, and it's something that I try to. Scary is a hard word. I have a coach who has kind of reframed things for me when it comes to going outside of your comfort zone. Push beyond your comfort zone. And she says, actually, there's a bit of a stretch zone, and it's okay to just stretch rather than kind of push way outside. And one thing that I try to do every day is just stretch a little bit outside my comfort zone. So as I said, I'm an introvert, and doing this is one thing that is pushing me a little bit outside that comfort zone, just into my stretch zone. I'm here at this conference. There's about 60 other people. I know a lot of them very well, but just interacting with people in person and chatting with people and having that kind of one-on-one conversation, that's also a little bit. So I do small things daily that get me used to going a little bit outside my comfort zone, so that when there's bigger opportunities, it doesn't feel so big and so outlandish and something that I cannot do. So I'm constantly kind of doing those small tweaks, those 1%ers, in order to be in a position to be comfortable going bigger. And big things that I'm doing. I'm presenting to I'm applying for grants. I'm presenting to like pitch competitions. I am creating new offers for my students. I am talking to corporations because we want to set up a B2B arm of the business where we can go to an organization and say, you, one organization, you have thousands of women that we would like to empower and support and encourage and teach these tech skills to. And that means that our vision, which is to reach lots and lots of women, is easier. So because I do the small kind of 1%ers, even as an introvert, even because of the things that I feel uncomfortable doing, it makes it easier for me to do the things that appear to be bigger. And have I been knocked back? Have I been told, you're that's not a good idea, or that's not going to work? Yes, absolutely. And the thing that really keeps me going all the time is my vision and my mission. It's a personal one, but it's also our company, and that's reach, that's impact. And regardless of how uncomfortable I might feel, if it means that I get to reach someone who is not sure they want to learn tech, or they're a little bit uncomfortable, or they don't have the confidence, or they've got that imposter syndrome, if they hear me and go, oh, wow, that sounds like me, I'm going to give it a go, then my job here is done. So I will go outside my comfort zone all day long in order to empower anyone to go, I have a chance at this because she did it, or someone in her community did it. So.
Well, it's definitely what you see in the chat, but we actually have some of your students with us today. So it's definitely impacting people around us and celebrating that moment and just taking those small steps, like you mentioned, towards something bigger and making sure that it aligns with your mission and vision is definitely, I think, a good piece of encouragement. Even if people are joining us today and they were nervous to join the hackathon, or maybe a little nervous to jump in with a team or work with people they don't know, like you mentioned, sort of taking those small steps and pushing yourself a little bit into, what does your coach call it, the stretch zone?
Yes, yeah, but yeah, and it's
The
just
stretch
that
zone. Okay.
just outside your comfort zone. It's not that kind of push and do something that you're scared of. It's just a little bit. It's those small 1%ers that really make the difference and compound over time.
Amazing. Well, as a fellow introvert, I'm with you. So I hear you on doing something a little bit out of your element or something that makes you a little bit stretched, maybe on a day that maybe you wouldn't have had that stretch. So it's amazing that you're actually in an environment. And so, like you mentioned, sort of at this conference, people that you're getting to see in person, maybe people that you know, but again, taking advantage of the moment in time and saying, wait a second, maybe I should chat with X, or maybe I should set up a meeting with Y. And so taking that into just your day-to-day living and sort of thinking through that with you is really cool. Because I think from what I'm learning is a lot of your students know your big picture story, but also boiling it down a little bit to the day-to-day and how that all comprises the element of your work and what you're working towards. I'm wondering if you could turn back time, if you on the side are creating a time machine, if you could do that, what might be something you wished someone would have shared with you at the beginning of your journey? What might something be that was in the initial thoughts or inception of everything you're doing that maybe would have fueled you to get where you are faster or without more roadblocks?
Mm-hmm. So many things. I want to kind of stay on that same line of the 1%, and I didn't really start doing that until probably a couple years ago. And the if you can get really clear about your why, and this is what I tell my students, and it's one of the first things I get them to do. We actually send out these little postcards, say write down your why, because for me it's a mission, it's a vision, and whether someone, an individual person here, they may not know what that is on a massive scale, but you have a reason. Like, you're here right now because you want to learn to code, you want to learn a tech skill, you want to freelance, you want to get a job, you want to get back into the industry, there is a reason that you're here. But I would challenge you to think about what's that deeper. Like, okay, you want to start your own business. Why? You want to spend more time at home with your kids. Okay, why? You keep digging and digging and digging and really get to the heart of that, because whether you're here to start your own business, freelance, to get a job, to just learn a skill because you love learning, you're doing something outside the norm of most people who have the 9 to 5. You want something more, but it's not going to be the easiest journey. So sorry to kind of burst any bubbles here. If you are choosing to do something different, the journey's not going to be easy. You're going to have bad days. I don't know if you've ever seen that meme where it's, day in the life of a freelancer or whatever it is, and you're constantly up and down. Like, I can do this, I can't do it. And that's how we feel all the time. If you can be really clear about why you're doing this hard thing and remind yourself of that on the hard days, then you will keep going and you will keep pushing through. And because I'm very clear about what my why is, what our mission and vision is at GeekPack, I push through on the hard days. And I have plenty of hard days. I have lots of great days and lots of hard days. That's normal. And it's those 1% things that I do on a daily basis that really keep me in step and very clear on where I'm going. And do I falter? Absolutely. That's completely normal, and it's okay, so long as your overarching kind of line of where you're going and your direction is towards that why. Do you want to make $1 million and retire? Awesome. Like, embrace whatever it is that you're doing this thing for, and get really clear on why. Because when it gets hard, because it will, you'll remember that and you'll keep going, whether it's 2 hours later or 2 weeks later. Just keep going. So that's what I wish
Julie,
I had sooner. Yeah.
I'm going to sort of recap what I think is like a gold mine of really useful information. So I'm going to hopefully recap and sort of summarize your brain space that you just shared with us. So the first thing is sort of digging at your why and your purpose. And so that sort of reminds me too of sort of preserving that like childlike innocence of when a kid keeps pushing and says, but why, right? And so giving yourself that space to dig a little deeper until you can't get any further with your why. That's landing on really where your center is and what's driving you. Then I love your postcard idea, the idea of actually having a visual to remind yourself of where and what is driving you when you come to that, and that sort of end result of your goal or your vision. And then using those stretch moments or using those opportunities when it's hard to come back to it, because it might be easy to sort of let that fall away or sort of live in the moment of the, like you said, the ebbs and the flows, to then sort of center yourself on what pushes you forward.
Yes. Yeah.
Am I with you?
Me. Yes.
Not at all. Not at all. You gave me some inspiration too. I'm going to write my why. I'm going to get a nice, beautiful, like bright postcard and put it on my wall too. So I did not have that visual in my mind as something I should have. And I think I should. So I'm grateful to you for even reminding me of that. And so I'd love to transition, because we actually have our first question from Angela in the chat. And if I remember correctly, you mentioned that your background isn't in coding, but it's in Russian. Is that correct?
So my degree from college is in Russian, so I don't have a tech kind of degree. I just got my degree in Russian, but I don't speak it anymore.
And the reason being is Angela's actually mentioning that her first degree was in Spanish, and then she had some additional language minors. And she notes that, thankfully, it's always been pretty easy to learn new languages, and she even took a semester of Russian. But her question is actually asking whether or not you find that your language background has helped you with coding. And she shared a little bit about how that's looked in terms of natural languages for her and how to build that out. And so I'm curious if you can share a little bit with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see the chat coming in, and I'm trying to read all that and focus on everything. But Angela,
I got
you. Yeah, thank you. So let's see. So it was a good probably 8 years after learning Russian and living in Russia for a year before I then kind of started to code. I think it probably did, yes, because you can look at anything written, typed, and your brain is kind of already wired to, I'm used to seeing it in English and now I'm seeing it in Spanish or Russian. So I think so, yes, because you're already that kind of extra step there. I would say one of the best skills that I found when learning to code is problem solving and troubleshooting, and not really giving up, like determination. And that didn't work, so I'll try it again. So if you love just figuring something out or helping someone else figure something out, it's absolutely something that anyone can learn. I'm a big believer that anyone can learn to code. And so I do think that another language is helpful. Absolutely. And I love, she says, as a fellow introvert, how hard was it for you to reach out? And when did you first tell someone you were a developer? It was, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how else to be except honest and transparent here. It was absolutely terrifying. That's part of kind of that 1% is how could you tell someone that you're a developer in a safe space? So could it be a friend? Could it be a family member? Some people really kind of shy away from telling people close to them because that makes them even more nervous than telling a stranger. So depending on where you fall, it could be, and the first person I told that I was a developer was a stranger. Even though my family is super supportive, I was still a little bit nervous. They were going to say, why are you doing that? Go and get a real job, or are you getting a degree? All those things. So the first person I told was a stranger. And I remember every time I told someone that I was a developer, it was oh, that is so cool. You're way smarter than me. You must know how to do all these really amazing things. Like, that was the response I got. It wasn't, no, you're not, because you don't have no, you're not. It was absolutely not the response I was expecting. at least not kind of in person in real life with a human that I was talking to. I had different experiences online, as I mentioned before, with some of the not very nice people. But in person, when I would tell people this is what I do, it was always a very impressive response. And I was shocked with that. So after I did it the first time, it just got a little bit easier and a little bit easier and a little bit easier.
Sort of owning that title and that sense of identity that comes with it. Sounds like, that sort of, like you said, that risk taking took maybe a stranger's sort of affirmations and confirmations of, wow, that's really cool, to sort of build up that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned something there. I'd love to kind of dig into that a little bit deeper. There's something, and I'm sure people who are a lot smarter than me, it probably has something to do with how your brain's wired and all of that. But if you tell someone, this is what I do, and you genuinely believe that as your identity. Okay, I'm a developer, and I am learning, whatever that looks like for you, but I'm a developer. If that's the identity that you are literally kind of stepping into, imagine you're taking a step forward. This is me, I'm a developer. You will then start to think like a developer. You'll make decisions like a developer. You will, everything then becomes your identity. So if you say this is my title and you step into that identity, then everything else just kind of falls into play, and you have those conversations with strangers, and you update your resume, and you just have a lot more confidence because you've stepped into that identity. So it's not just a matter of saying I'm a developer, it's really believing it and making decisions based on a developer. And I'm a developer and I'm looking for a job here. I know JavaScript, React, whatever that might be, but that identity shift is really, really important. I'm so glad you brought that up, Jessica.
Great. And Angela wrote, thank you so much for sharing about your experiences, and that but a nervousness that someone might test her in the case. And Angela, I can tell you, as a non-developer, I wouldn't even know what to ask you. So if and when you decide to declare that, I can be your first stranger and I can be the one to support you, because I wouldn't even know where to start quizzing you on anything. So big kudos to you, Julia. So sort of absorbing that is sort of one piece of your identity. Of course, everyone's got so many parts to them and so many things that make them who they are. And so if you sort of, like you said, you put on that developer coat or those pair of shoes and you sort of walk like a developer, think like a developer, talk like a developer, that sort of brain habit is going to start to cultivate over time. What's another layer of your identity that's sort of developed as a business founder and as someone who's grown an organization in a community space? What's another layer of your identity that, since learning to code, has sort of grown with you?
Sure. Oh, so again, so many. I've developed so much as a leader, as an instructor, as a learner, throughout my entire journey, from start to where I am now. And I use so many of those different skills in a lot of different avenues. And I think from when I first started to learn, I was not really all that pleased with how what resources were available, and it was kind of choppy, and it wasn't easy. And again, without the community, it just kind of fell all over the place. And pretty much everything I've done since starting to learn to code to where I am now is I experience something, and then I try to look for a way to make it better based on my experience, and talking to our students in our community and our audience, and just trying to constantly improve. How could this be better? How would it fit better for them? And I do that with my team. I do that with my business. And again, so much of what I do is kind of small optimizations and small tweaks. My business it's not been one of those like skyrocket growth, but it's grown in time with us, with me, the team, and how we can kind of make things happen. So everything from initially learning, making small tweaks, and because I'm an introvert, and because I didn't like being made fun of, and I didn't want people to test me, Angela, like you said. I mean, that's completely normal. Because I took smaller steps and I did smaller things, nothing ever felt too far out of control. And that was helpful for me as well. So I move slowly, I tweak, I optimize, and that has worked for me and my personality rather than, the loud and the boisterous. It's just not my style. And that's worked well for me.
Thanks for sharing. I'm excited to see another question come in. And Seong, I want to make sure so if I did say it incorrectly, please jump into the chat and let me know how I should say it. But you've mentioned that you started and coded for front end, but have been switching to doing freelancing as a product designer. And so it's sort of that visual design experience, but getting clients has been incredibly hard. How did you start with your first freelancer work, or any tips for looking for clients?
Oh yeah, I was wondering what the audience was, whether it, mostly people looking for work or freelance, and I imagine it's an amalgamation of all. This is easily by far the question that we get asked the most is, how do you find clients? Like that's the hardest part, and I agree with you. So unfortunately, what I cannot say is I have the answer that's going to solve it all and you can figure it out. I'm sorry, I don't have that. It is hard, especially if you're an introvert, if you're plagued with imposter syndrome, if your confidence isn't super high, if you're brand new to this, all of those things will kind of stack against your comfort level with saying, I know how to do this thing. Can you pay me? Because that is terrifying. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. It's completely normal to feel all those things. And the majority of people who are going through an experience like this will feel that way. So just know you're in good company. And if anyone else is kind of here watching and in the chat and can relate to this, please let us know, because just knowing that other people are going through that same thing is encouraging. My first client was actually a friend, and my second client was a family member, and then after that it was strangers. So there's lots of different ways you can go about finding clients. The one thing I would say is please don't use Freelancer or Upwork or any of those sites like that unless you're already there and you've been using it successfully and it works really well for you. Awesome. I would argue that it's harder to find a well-paying client there versus using either your network of people that you already know or simply talking to people. And that's what I find really cool is if I were back home in Colorado, behind my camera on my wall, I have these shelves. And I went to so I'm going to tell a story real quick. I went to 2 woodworking companies in Durango, and I said to both of them, I want floating wooden shelves behind my desk to put, pictures on, because I work from home and I want to have a nice background. And both of them said, oh, what do you do that means you can work from home? And I said, I'm a web developer and I build websites for clients and I do X, Y, and Z. And both of them said, I need a new website. You can build it. And that was it. That it was as simple as that. I didn't sell. I didn't feel icky. It was a genuine conversation with another human being, and it was completely normal. So I would like you to hear that it's not as hard as it sounds or feels. And if you're comfortable going with, and this is that going back to that, who you tell you're a developer first and how you find clients. If you're comfortable with your close inner circle network of family and friends, go there. If you're not, then go to strangers. And it could be something as simple as the example I just gave. You can go into a store, a coffee shop, and have a conversation and say, hey, what do you do? Or however the natural conversation starts. Most of the time when you're having a conversation with someone you don't know, someone will ask, what do you do? And if you say, I do so-and-so, they will probably say, I know someone who needs that. And in my example, it was building websites, because a lot of people need websites, and that's an easy kind of freelance thing to offer, is building websites. Someone said non-developer, cool. Like, you can build websites as a non-developer, you can design, and product designer, awesome. There's so many things you can do. And I would argue that if you're going to have a conversation with a stranger about, what do you do for work? Know what you say, and you can tweak it depending on who you're talking to. But how can you tell them what you do in a way that makes them go, oh, cool, I need that, or I know someone that needs that? Bring it way down to kind of like third grade level. Don't use fancy words, because no one's going to understand it. If you are looking for clients, speak to them. Don't speak to other people that you would be learning with, if that makes sense. So just having conversations with strangers, you could land a client for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, it's really cool to see some people in the chat share sort of that, almost like you said, that like crescendo effect of Candace mentioned, like first starting to do websites for a couple hundred and then a few thousand, and now pushing themselves to get up to 10,000 as a starting point. So that's pretty amazing. And just that inspiration of sort of, like you said, that building over time, of course, of using your network and your friends, and also perhaps just a fun conversation from a woodworker that turned into website building. Yeah, I mean, that was a very cool opportunity that I'm sure when you spoke to them that first day, you didn't know was coming.
Yep, absolutely. And Angela said there, I was at a craft festival as a crafty, nerdy gal. 2 of the vendors told me they needed a website, and I ran. Now, Angela, that's completely normal. Imposter syndrome, again, like, I get it. I never believe it goes away, but I would challenge you on this, Angela. They need something that you know how to do, and I would assume that you're not the type of person to let someone down, or to not kind of not help someone if they need help. And that's exactly what they've said. They need websites. They need that for their business. If you can kind of change the narrative in your head about how you think about it, rather than I ran because of imposter syndrome, it could be I stayed because I can help them, and because I'm a person who helps people and I want their business to be successful. So it's not so much about you. And I think a lot of us, I was the same. I would be so concerned about myself, and what if they're going to, imposter syndrome, they're going to make fun of me, and all of those things. But if you can step out of that and think about the other person, which is normal. We are very good about thinking about other people. Think about them and how you could help them. And honestly, Angela, you could probably go back and find those 2 vendors and restart the conversation. Don't think that you can't, but think about how you can serve them, how you can help them, rather than how it makes you feel uncomfortable. Because if I stopped at I'm an introvert and it makes me feel uncomfortable being on live camera or doing events and conferences, I would not be able to fulfill my mission and my vision. And that is not fair to the hundreds and thousands of women that we want to reach. So it's unfair of me to be, selfish because this makes me uncomfortable. I want to serve and I want to help. So that's kind of that bit of that stretch zone bit. So I appreciate you sharing that, Angela.
Yeah, and sort of like you mentioned, this idea of sort of making sure that you remind yourself, yes, you're still growing and your skills are improving over time, like anybody is, and they're learning new things and improving all the time. But if you're really attuned to what I think what we're hearing here is what the client needs or what they want, you can step up for them in really amazing ways. And so it's really exciting. And I do hope with that challenge that you go back to them and you find them and you make sure that you give them an offer that just excites them and puts them over the moon about what they can do for their online business. So I think that's amazing. We do have a question from Maria, who asked, what's a good tech direction if you don't focus well multitasking several clients?
Oh, I love this. So it's immediately the thing that comes to mind is something that a friend of mine who's actually here at this conference that I'm at in Florida, that she refers to as VIP days. And what this is rather than having lots of different clients and projects going on at once, you can have one client and you say, you're going to have me and my time for an entire day. This is how much it costs. This is what you're going to get. Here's pre-work that I need you to do ahead of time. And this is what I'm going to deliver to you maybe it's a website. Maybe it is setting up automations. Maybe it is building an app. So whatever that might be, you could offer to whatever you can complete in a day. Obviously, copywriting, design, you could do, full design, whatever you can do in a day. You would probably have some pre-work and you'd probably have some post-work, but that could all be done in a day. So there's a number of things the tech direction that you could go in, depending on what you enjoy doing. But that is one way to not have lots of clients in all the different places, like asking for a bunch of stuff. You say, okay, I'm going to do 2 VIP days in a month, and you have one client for 2 weeks and you have one for the other 2 weeks. And that's your focus is just that client, that thing, and you deliver it and it's awesome. And they get something tangible. And because they get to walk away with something in a short period of time, there's a weird psychology thing that happens where they're like, ooh, VIP, I'm going to pay more for this thing, but I'm going to get it quick. And, think about you dieting. If you're, okay, I will pay more money to lose 100 pounds in a day. Of course that can't happen, but it's that same mentality. What can you get in a short period of time? So that's an option. Maria.
The other thing I love, Julia, that you just sort of talked about is the sentiment and the feeling of having that focused attention. But it also sounds like you're building an incredible amount of trust. You're also saying to them, I'm going to deliver. I'm going to get you something when I say I'm going to do it. And it's going to be to a high caliber because I'm only focused on you. I'm making sure that you're my primary focus, my primary attention is centered just on your needs. And I think that's a great way, like you're speaking about, of sort of growing that clientele and building that trust. Because of course, that I imagine the word of mouth is more powerful than we can ever truly understand, right? About how that can be a great way to sort of build that relational trust while getting them something, like you said, something tangible, something they can see, which is really exciting. So we have about 10 minutes left. So if you are still itching to ask a question, but maybe you've just been a little nervous or just been a little shy or maybe not certain if we can get to it, please jump into the chat now so we make sure to get your questions answered from Julia. In the meantime, though, I'm wondering if you can tell us something that you are excited about for the future of tech. Whether you're talking about the next 3 months, the next 3 years, the next 30 years, whatever timeline, it excites you. But what's something that you as a learner, you as a developer, you as a business leader are excited about for this field and where we're going?
Sure. Such good questions. I'm excited about a lot of things. I'm really excited. We recently, this past summer, so in August, a few months ago now, I hosted my first ever in-person team retreat. So I have 6 other team members. There's 7 of us total on my team. And I flew them all in from all over the world. My team's all over the world, flew them in, and we were all in Durango, Colorado together. And one of the things that we did together was we co-created on our new vision. And visions, I'm a believer that if as a business owner, as a company, you want your vision to be a big, hairy, audacious goal, like really big and outlandish, because if you're not kind of going for something big and scary and outlandish, then what are you kind of stretching for? And we came up with a new vision. I'll tell you what it is in a second. And it is like, oh my gosh. And I have absolutely no idea how we're going to get there, but it is my compass, and it is my true north. And it is, if like what I'm doing and what we're doing on the team, if we're not getting closer to that, then we're off track. So it just gives us that direction to go in. And our vision is to change the face of tech by getting 1 million new voices into the conversation by 2030. 1 million by 2030. So I have a date on it and I have a number, and that is big and scary. But I don't know how we're going to do that. But I do know, having started kind of going down the route of doing some pitch competitions and getting some corporations interested in what we're doing and how we're going to achieve this vision, is I have given myself permission to know that that is where we're going. And that is where we need to go as a world economy, as a zoom into your local economy all the way up to small, medium, large businesses. We need more diversity, more representation in tech, or else we're just going to run out of people. So it's not a matter of, let's do it because it's the right thing to do. Of course it is, but we need more people. So I'm excited that tech is the future. We know that. We're here, we're in it, we want to be a part of it. But I'm excited about the representation that we're going to have in the coming years, where I want someone to go, I want to get into tech, and I want them to see someone that looks like them. Age, race, gender, education, whatever it is, how can you see yourself? And this is, a call for everyone here on this call now. You are helping us get to that, changing the face of tech, because someone else might see you and say, you look like me. If you can do it, I can do it. So you are a part of this. Just I hope that gets you excited as I do. And if I keep talking about it, I'm probably going to cry. My audience knows I'm a crier, especially when I get really excited about, what we're doing. But that gets me excited because there is a place for everyone, regardless of whatever your background is, what you look like, where you come from, your age. There is a place for you in tech. Tech is the future, and we need more people. We need representation. And it's only by every single one of us doing things like this that someone says, she did it, she looks like me, he did it, he looks like me, I can do it too. So
you did cry, because it's a big, hairy, audacious goal and it's exciting. So even if you do, you are in a safe space to do that. Amazing work. And I think sort of getting to the nitty gritty of how to make that happen, really bringing that forward. We actually had a question about one of your courses. So I'm wondering if you can speak to the difference between your boot camp versus your WP Rockstar course.
Sure. Yeah, we've got a handful of things. If you go to geekpack.com, there will be stuff on there about the things that we offer. So here, you guys, like, if y'all think you're uncomfortable kind of, selling and talking about your stuff, this is me also doing the same. So just know this isn't it's normal to feel the way that you do. WP Rockstar is WordPress. So WP Rockstar is a program that focuses primarily on building a business as a web designer, as a WordPress developer. We focus on the development aspect of it. So we go from the coding angle, because that's my background, and it is start a business, grow a business, find clients, how to market yourself. It's kind of a business in a box. That's what WP Rockstar is. As far as a boot camp, we've had a number of boot camps, so that's probably referring to our 5-day coding challenge, I assume. We have a number of different products, but if you go to geekpack.com, you can read a little bit more about it. We've got some YouTube videos. We've got some student testimonials. I know there's some amazing students on here now. So I'd say go and check that out for sure. And any questions, let us know in email.
Yeah, it sounds like you've space and place for everyone, like you said, to belong and feel like there's no right or wrong question or no right or wrong answer, but building those pathways that make sense for different students at different points in time, which is exciting. And so, like you mentioned a little earlier in our call today, there's going to be hard days. There's going to be really tough times or feelings that come with feeling unsuccessful or struggling with imposter syndrome or something that takes you by surprise and maybe is harder than you imagined. But it's also really, really exciting and really helpful, I think, to celebrate the wins and to take pride in those things that are going well. And so I'm wondering if for, as we just wait for any last questions to come in, if there's something you can celebrate with us. What's something that's bringing you joy or making you feel celebratory lately?
Oh, again, great question and super uncomfortable because it is that it's really hard to celebrate wins, and it's really, really important to do. So I'm so glad you brought this up, and I hope that everyone here can do the same. What is something that you can celebrate that we can kind of celebrate alongside with you? We have recently been applying for a number of grants in order to get funding and get some support behind what we're doing at GeekPack and the vision that we have, because it is a big, hairy, audacious vision. And we've been awarded a handful of grants recently. And I think the thing that I'm probably most proud of, at least right now in this moment that I'm thinking of, is I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, because it's not kind of public yet, and we might not win it, but I've really set the tone, haven't I?
You've built it up. We're with you.
I've been going through an application process for a year-long fellowship program with Cartier, so the diamond company, and it's called the Cartier Women's Initiative, and it is an international fellowship with women from all around the world doing amazing things like solving world problems, water, poverty, medical devices, like really, really amazing things these women are doing. And I found out over the summer that we were shortlisted down to the top 10 companies, and I found out a couple months later we were shortlisted down to the top 5, and 3 of the companies moved forward, and we're in that top 5. I just finished up, huge presentation and Q&A, like an interview session. It was really intense with some amazing people, and I know who my kind of quote unquote competition is, and the fact that I'm at the seat of the table, the fact that I am surrounded by these other 4 women who are doing these amazing things, I am incredibly proud of that. I don't know if we're going to move forward, but regardless, GeekPack is at the table, and I'm proud of that.
And I'm going to cry now because we're all until you get news of the top 3 or sort of the end result. I think everyone here is rallying behind you and the amazing work you do to bring this next development space and creator space of technology for women and non-binary creators to the table. Because whether it's here, wherever you are in this very moment, in your case, Miami, in my case, Wisconsin, wherever you may be, your work is valuable, and what you're bringing is a beautiful contribution to the field of tech. And so we thank you. We're so grateful for you to be with us today and celebrating in your both wins, but also being honest about your challenges. And I'm going to hand it back over to Katie. But again, a huge thank you to you, Julia, and we can't wait to see what comes from GeekPack.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor, and everyone, Jessica, Katie, but everyone on the chat, seeing your names and your support, it genuinely means the world. So thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you both so much. That was an amazing conversation. I know I just took 10 notes and things I want to think about, and I want to get clearer about my why, and I want to work on some VIP days. So thank you so much for sharing so much value. And thank you, Jessica, for leading that amazing conversation. We've got some more conversations coming up. If anyone wants to navigate to the agenda over the screen, you can head over to our workshops and check out what we have going on. We've got 2 sets of workshops, and we'll be back here at 3 o'clock on the stage for another conversation. Feel free to hang out in the Slack. There's lots of conversations going there. Don't forget, if you're looking for a team, come find us in the Dream Team, and we're going to have a great day. So thank you both for kicking us off and getting us inspired and fired up to create. We'll talk to you all later. Thank you.
Thanks.